Hello, I'm Doherty. I'm a Senior Trade and Customs Specialist at the Institute of Export and International Trade, and I am here to answer some common questions and queries we've been getting from you around the upcoming changes to border processes throughout 2024. I've got some questions here in my bowl. I'm going to pick them out one by one and try and answer them as much as I can. So we'll start with question number one, which is, what are the biggest changes to the UK border that traders should be aware of in this upcoming year? And I think that will depend really on the type of goods that you are trading in. Some changes will apply to all traders, others will be specific to the sector that you're in. We've had border target operating model introduced in 2024. First deadline has passed of 31st of January, and the next one is on the 30th of April 2024. For importers of sanitary and phytosanitary goods, such as meat, dairy products, fruit and vegetables or plants, that will mean that there will be potential documentary, identity and physical checks at the borders, in addition to pre-notification and certification requirements. We're also seeing change from chief to CDS for export declarations. While the import declarations have already been on CDS since October 2022, everybody exporting goods out of the United Kingdom will move on to CDS. In October, we will see introduction of safety and security declarations on imports of goods from the European Union. That is all imports of all the products coming in through the EU, meaning that there's an additional step on top of your customs declaration that you will need to complete either yourself or your haulier to comply with this requirement. Additionally, UK government is looking at modernizing the process into which traders can obtain authorization for trusted trader schemes and special procedures. We're seeing potential simplifications to customs declaration, meaning some of the data that is currently being required may be removed, as well as introduction of the single trade window in staged approach, hopefully from October 2024. Okay, so now on to the next question. There are plenty of changes coming in 2024. What has motivated the upcoming changes? But I think the main point is to modernize the processes at the border as much as possible. When you look at that, that's where the CDS changes are coming from. Chief is a legacy system. We need to move away from using it. It cannot cope with the volume of declaration. Single trade window will provide a single access point to multiple government department services and tell us once approach from the government for data. Modernizing authorizations and declarations has a similar point of view behind it, and the same applies to the border target operating model processes. The UK has a responsibility as part of WTO membership, but also for protection of biosecurity and human health on the UK marketplace. We need to assess the risk of products being placed onto the UK market and ensure that we apply the right level of control at the right time. Border target operating model involves a data-driven and risk-based approach to the UK border. Could you elaborate on what this means for traders? Well, border target operating model looks at using actual data, horizon scanning and monitoring to paint a picture of goods being placed onto the UK market and the risk that they pose to biosecurity and human health. That risk then decides what sort of controls are applicable to those goods, but at the border and beyond it. So the experience of the trader will vary depending on the types of the products that they import, as well as the risk categorization of such products. How traders adapt to system changes such as CDS? Well, again, this will depend on the role that a trader plays in the customs process. If the exporters are using customs intermediaries for their export declarations, then they will need to work in tandem to make sure that the clearance instructions are representative of the changes from chief to CDS, and that the customs intermediary understands their responsibilities and is aware of the system changes. If the exporters are lodging their own export declarations using software, then they will need to speak with the software providers to understand any changes to the processes and any additional data that they may need to capture. What are the 3 biggest benefits traders can expect to see as a result of ongoing changes to the UK border? Well, a move towards more digital trade processes will offer a greater visibility and flexibility of data, which means that traders will have a greater control over the information and which should in turn increase the levels of compliance. Future changes to information required for completion of customs declaration could mean that they become less burdensome to some traders. Even though the border target operating model is bringing in additional checks on SPS goods being imported from the EU, importers of medium-risk goods could apply to various trusted trader schemes currently being piloted by DEFRA, meaning that certain activities could be moved away from the border and to the trader's premises, giving them a greater control over the time of arrival, time of inspection, or any processes applicable to their goods. And the last question, although this is the last question in the bowl, I'm sure there's plenty more questions that I could be answering. How can traders mitigate the risk of disruptions caused by the incoming changes? Well, it very much is about staying informed, testing the processes, and speaking to everybody within your supply chain. This is speaking to your customers, this is speaking to your suppliers, software providers, customs intermediaries, including government authorities. Stay up to date as much as you can. Listen to the Institute of Export and International Trade for all the updates that we're bringing around. Come to our training sessions, lessons, come to our consultancies if you wish. We are here to help and to keep you updated. To find any more information about the topics that I've just discussed today, go to our website export.org.uk and look for the training sessions that we offer, including ones on customs declarations and CDS, SPS goods, customs compliance, and any other areas of customs and international trade that you may be interested in.